Be talking about veterans and their history with motorcycle clubs and club protocol. We also have the premiere of Ask China Doll coming up. China Doll's on the show with me today. All you ladies were asking for, she's back on this show.
Motorcycle Madhouse with James Hollywood Machikari.
Yep, good to go.
And welcome to Friday Night Show. How's everybody doing out there in YouTube, Facebook, and also Periscope, Twitter, and all the other platforms? It is a nice and cold one here. Hopefully the stream's working for you guys. Going good. Showing great on my end over here. Today's show, we're going to be talking about vets and motorcycle clubs, what they have had in common all these years. Also, how the vets have shaped motorcycle club protocol. But first, I would like to ask you all guys a favor. Check out the description box for me. Good Time Charlie 2020 hashtag. We are starting. And there is a nomination link for the Sturgis Hall of Fame class of 2020. We want to get that nomination form filled out for Good Time Charlie. Let's get him into the Sturgis Hall of Fame. So if you guys can help out, click on that link after the video. I would really appreciate it. Also, Monday, I will be on Good Time Charlie's show on Bikers Inner Circle at 11 o'clock Central Standard Time. And also, well, I think that's 9 o'clock a.m. West Coast time, so noon East Coast time. I'm still trying to get all used to these time zone stuff. So yeah, I'll be over there chatting it up with Good Time Charlie. But honestly, if you guys can help out, this guy has been helping out the motorcycle scene forever, ever. He's an encyclopedia of knowledge, and he's an all-around good guy. He's been playing at the Buffalo Chip for more than 10 years, and he's the one I always refer to as the godfather of biker radio over there at BIC, Biker Inner Circles. No better guy than Good Time Charlie, and he deserves it. He's also done the films Rebel on the Highway, and they're also shooting Rough Riders, so check that out. You can actually check it out on his website or Amazon. But we got a special treat for you today. We got a China Doll freaking segment. Yeah, we're going to bring China Doll back on, and we actually got a lot of time in with her today, you know, because we pre-recorded earlier, and she will be doing some lives with me eventually when she's off of work and all that good stuff. Also, I want to send out a heartfelt thank you to the NCOM, National Confederation of Clubs, or National Coalition of Motorcyclists, and it's just huge, and I really appreciate this honor. I got this letter in my email today, and I was like, wow, this is the epitome of what I do for my job, and this is the biggest honor I can receive from NCOM. I guess I'm getting a 2019 Silver Spoke Award for Entertainment, and that will be at the 35th Annual NCOM Convention in Orlando, Florida, May 11th, so I'll be down there, and there's no greater honor for us in biker entertainment, biker news, is to receive an award like this from NCOM and all those men over there. It touches you, and I'm real excited, and I really appreciate it. Can't say, you know, enough about that. I seen some of the recipients, you know, and it's like, wow, unreal. So I really appreciate that, and thanks. I want to thank the audience and all that for helping grow the show. Right now, we're worldwide. We're on 30 different platforms. We're also on iHeart, Spotify. We're everywhere, and it's just huge, and really appreciate you guys doing that for us. But before we go into China Doll's presentation, we are going to talk about Veterans and motorcycle clubs. Now, as you know, World War II is what set what we know today for motorcycle clubs. It was them guys, those men that were, that was true brotherhood back then because they were in battle. And those that are vets that served our country, they deserve the utmost respect and the highest honor that anybody that can give them. And everybody knows that Insane Throttle Motorcycle Madhouse is behind them 110%. Shit, you'd throw 1,000% out there, and that's where we're at and more. Without vets, our country is nothing. I love our vets. But anyway, it's just awesome that the vets are the ones that shape motorcycle clubs and the protocol that we know today. That I can't, because I was never, I couldn't imagine what they went through and stuff. And that is the true meaning of honor, loyalty, stuff a lot of civilians wouldn't know. A lot of people that weren't in battle wouldn't know. Wow, it takes your breath away and stuff. And that's where a lot of the structure of the motorcycle club came from. And I'm not just talking one percenters or any of that stuff. I'm talking clubs as a whole. It was them vets that built us the way we are, what we know, way things should be, how it should be structured. And I always do find it funny when, because I had an article out today that's going pretty wild right now. Take a look at it. I talked about how law enforcement and the media are controlling the narrative, and clubs got to jump in there and start controlling the narrative themselves, because we all know how mainstream media it is. Let's put it that way. But yeah, motorcycle clubs, MC protocol, the best thing I can tell you guys to do is when it comes to that kind of stuff, go up to a club member. Talk to them. If they don't want to talk to you, you know what? Bide some time, wait a couple months, buy them a beer, whatever. But when you do get around some clubs, and make sure you get around traditional, legit clubs, not the ones offering these patches on the internet or selling them and all that kind of shit. You know what? If you didn't earn it, you're not going to like it. You're not going to sit there and put your all into it. And that's why you see a lot of these clubs fold within the first year or two, because they didn't have to earn it. So what the hell do they care? Why put in the freaking work? And it's the guys, the vets in the beginning after World War II, and especially during Vietnam. Vietnam era was the biggest change in the motorcycle scene. That's where a lot of the big five started expanding. It was in the mid-60s from coast to coast. Before and then, it was a little more centralized in each state and stuff like that. And that's one argument you can actually put up for rationale with the state rockers and stuff, because people say state rockers. Well, you got to know the story behind the state rockers. You really do, before you start saying, well, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Well, back then in the mid-60s and before, clubs were in them states. They weren't nationalized like they were now. And our vets, a lot of them in these big one percenter clubs were vets, Vietnam vets that expanded the clubs nationwide and, of course, worldwide, okay? Thanks for that, Southern Belle. Really appreciate that super chat. That's awesome. Thank you. Anyway, our export, the biggest thing that we've exported worldwide is the ideal of motorcycle clubs, the structures, and the brotherhood as a whole. And we all owe that to our vets. Everything to our vets. And next time you see a vet, shake their hand. But yeah, protocol, there's a lot of information out there. Check it out. It's what I think it's rsvp.com. Now, don't quote me. That's a huge site that a lot of people send their prospects to and stuff like that. It's information that's been put up there by different clubs and, their way of saying, okay, this is what happens and blah, blah, blah. So take a look at it. You'll learn a lot on there and all that good stuff. But right now, we are going to premiere everybody's favorite, China Doll.
They say you don't gotta go home, but you can't stay here.
And welcome to China Doll's first segment on Motorcycle Madhouse. I know I had her premiere the other day, but it was cut short because of problems with the equipment and stuff. So with that, after she was seen, I had a lot of the ladies over on Facebook and YouTube ask that if China Doll could come back and give some of her opinions on different types of topics that we're doing. And I said, okay, of course. So welcome, China Doll.
Hi.
Hi. Anyway, we're going to talk today about her new group that she got going. It's called Ladies of the Madhouse over on Facebook because the ladies just want a place to go without us men being around. And by the way, guys, we are advertising it all over social media. And if you try to get in, you won't. So don't even try. Waste the time. You're wasting yours and you're not going to get in. So what's the group going to be about?
It's time for the ladies to be able to speak freely without judgment.
Now, why do you say speak freely without judgment?
Because this way they can speak however they want. Like if they're afraid to make a comment on one of your shows, they can always comment on my page. And I can give them feedback and personal opinions. And it doesn't have to be all about the biker lifestyle. It could be basically about anything. And this way they got no men watching over their shoulders.
So it's basically like an Ask China Doll type of segment.
Yeah, pretty much.
Instead of Dear Abby, it's Dear China Doll.
Basically.
Which she's real good to talk to and stuff. You know, she's got that Fruity Loop, as I say, outgoing personality, where I'm more of the freaking contained type of guy and more serious guy. So with her, you guys, you know, you girls actually will have a great time in there. If you want to get into it, you can go through either our Insane Throttle page, or I'll have it in Bikers and Brotherhoods, and we're going to be advertising it all. And I'll also put it in the description box of where the group is. Again, only ladies in there. Now, what is funny about this is ladies wanting to get their opinions out there. And she put, actually, before she put the post up there, she said, should I ask ladies what they think of the biker lifestyle today compared to what it was back then as far as the ladies are concerned? And why did you ask that?
Well, I specifically asked that because back in the late 90s, things were a lot different than what I've seen in today's day and age with how the females carry themselves.
What do you mean by that?
Well, specifically those that are wearing the property of patches. Back in the day, I wore one. And the way we behaved out in public and the way we treated other people seemed to be a lot different than that venue that we went to a few weeks ago, the swap meet. The women acted like they were better than everyone else.
Right, right. Well, it was a lot different than the way it was in the late 90s, but it was a lot more serious time, if you ask me, in the 90s, wasn't it?
Yeah, a way lot more. It's a big difference compared to how things are from what I see from, I guess, an outsider's point of view. It's 10 times different than it was in the 90s.
Well, I talk about that all the time on the show, how different it is. And when I say it was a more serious time, what I'm talking about was the club life was everything, you know, in the early 90s and all that stuff. I was with one particular club. We all lived in the same complex together. We did everything together, ate together, we partied together out by that creek. Remember that creek?
Yeah, I do.
Many a times out by that creek. But that was a different type of club than the other one that I was in. And the other one I was in was a lot more fun, I think.
It was more about just hanging out and having fun. And I mean, even when we had our first kid, we would do Thanksgiving, Christmas, and it would be all about the kids. It wouldn't be so much about us.
Right, right. Where the 90s club that I was in, and I don't mention the clubs anymore and stuff like that on the show, but you can find a little bit about those clubs in New Age Biker and Brotherhood, where I talked about them a little bit and how different things are today. But yeah, the women back then, because we talked about that a little bit the other day, how the women were on the back of the bikes and never rode their own bikes. And
it was kind of frowned upon then.
Well, yeah, you had to live through it. How was it during the 90s when I was with the first club compared to the second club?
As far as the women being in the front or the back?
Well, as far as the way women were treated altogether.
Well, the women were pretty much treated with a lot of respect. And we knew when to keep our mouths shut and when not to butt into any conversation. And the women always rode on the back. They were never seen on the front. More power to you, ladies, if you ride. I can't.
You can't get the coordination down that good.
No. There's too much going on at one time.
Well, you know, it was harder as a woman in the 90s than it is today. And I believe I was never around, and I'll admit that on camera. I wasn't around raising the kids in the 90s.
No. I spent a lot of time at home alone with my daughter because our kids are 7 years apart. So for the first 7 years with our daughter, I was pretty much home alone. I did get checked in on a lot by some of the other guys to make sure everything was going smooth or if I needed anything. But you weren't home much at all.
I used to be gone, a couple weeks at a time?
Yeah, I will honestly say he never changed our daughter's diaper.
Hell no, man. And that was, I actually, my viewpoint back then was the men don't do that shit, literally.
No, but he had no problems playing snuggles with her when he came home.
I had to see that, you know what, I always missed the kids when I got home from what I was doing, and that was the best time I spent. But again, it was different where, boom, you know, we'd be home a couple days and out on the road doing our stupid shit the next. And, you know, I used to, you know, like in the book I explained, I don't even consider the first one I was in like a motorcycle club. That was more of a street crew to me.
It seemed more like a street crew than anything else. It was just about hanging out and chilling. It wasn't so much what everything entails in bike clubs now.
Well, I'm talking street crew where we were out there making money and...
Yeah, there were a lot of girls in and out and a lot of other things that I kept my eyes closed to because that's what we were taught to do.
Right. Now, you know, it's not like that a lot anymore, but what kind of advice would you give women that are in that type of situation where... You know, me, I ran an escort service. I'm not going to bullshit you. Escort service, we did a lot of different kind of parties, if you will.
Yeah, very different kind of parties.
And we were one of the most successful in, you know, the Chicago area back then. But how would you school the women on how to deal with that kind of business?
With how it was back then?
Yeah. Because I don't think they're used to that type of stuff now. No.
You always got to know where your place is. And don't bite the hand that feeds you. That's for sure. You got to know where you belong. I mean, back then, women knew their place. I'm sure a lot of the women nowadays know their place as far as the club situation goes. Or as far as even riding goes. A lot more leeway now than there was then. Just don't be one of those girls wearing the patch, looking down at your nose at people. I know we never did. We treated everybody like we wanted to be treated. We didn't think we were better than everyone else.
Well, the women had a lot more close relationship in the 90s, I think, than they do now.
I think back then the women were a lot more close-knit because the guys would go off and do their thing, and when they were gone, the women would all get together. And even if we had kids, I mean, at least hanging out at one of the girls' houses would be one of the things we would do. It wasn't always about going out to the bar and going out drinking for the girls. It was more about the camaraderie and like having a bunch of good best friends.
Right. Well, you know, I know it was kind of hard with, you know, in the 90s with you when we were always going out to the prisons and stuff. And because we had prison chapters back then. Like I said, it was a whole different setup than it is today. But we used to be gone, Indiana, freaking Michigan, all that type of stuff.
Lots of Indiana trips.
You know, actually, I heard Lucky's still alive. he's doing that double life. But Pappy died. A couple other guys died. But
well, I remember being 7.5, 8 months pregnant, meeting Lucky and sitting on his lap, hugely pregnant. That was really awkward. Nice guy.
Yeah, he was awesome. Too bad doing that life sentence, but he was a guy. But it was a lot different. And, you hear me all the time bitching about how men have lost their balls. Now, can you explain to the women what I mean by that?
Well, there's been a few times I've even said some of these men nowadays have no balls.
Gotta talk louder.
I've kind of actually agreed with it because it's so different now than it was back then. I mean, grow some balls, back what you say. Too much all talk, no action, which back in the 90s was all about the action. They talk the talk and they walk the walk. And I don't see a lot of that anymore. So that's probably one of the reasons why you mentioned that people have no balls. Because they can't back what they're saying.
Right. Well, it was, you're right, it was a lot different. How many cop encounters?
One too many, and it was not fun when we were living out in the Bartlett area when I had our daughter in the car seat, and I get pulled over for no reason, and get approached with the officer's hand on his gun. It scared me to death.
She hasn't let me live that one down yet because of the gang registry. But, my name's been on that ever since, I was a kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
They just forgot to take me off.
It was kind of to be expected back then, but it was when it happened for the first time, it was just very scary.
Right.
Especially having our daughter in the car. If it was just me, it probably would have been a different scenario.
Right. Well, you mentioned not having balls. Me mentioning all the time men having balls, and I usually bring that up is because we would ask some guys to go out, go riding, do this and that. They would say, well, I had to ask my wife, see what we're up to, doing this, blah, blah, blah. And and the looks on my face were, I guess, priceless.
In shock and awe, because why should you ask your woman permission? Just go. He didn't ask my permission. He was just, later, I gotta go. That was it.
Later, and 2 weeks later, I'll see you later.
You don't ask questions. You just let them do what they need to do because that's what they were supposed to do.
Right. Again, different club. I think you like the second club better because it was more friendly and more family orientated type of deal. Yes. Even though it was on a higher level, but it was different the way that I grew up compared to a lot of these people growing up today and the way they think of stuff. Like I said, when you first met me in the 90s, it was some hardcore shit going down in the 90s.
Well, you also got to keep in mind that I was basically, as you love to call me, born on the wrong side of the tracks. Because I grew up in Schaumburg.
And I grew up in Chicago.
So meeting somebody like him is totally, like he said, it's from the wrong side of the tracks. And he was actually the one on the wrong side of the track.
That's probably why your parents never talked to me in 25 years. And they think I'm not bullshitting. They haven't talked to me in 25 fucking years.
He's not kidding. No, my parents never liked him.
Nope.
But they were too afraid to object at the wedding.
Hey, it is what it is.
Oh, well.
Now, before we go, you got to tell them why I don't drink anymore. You love telling the story all the time.
Oh, this is my favorite story. Mainly because of the fact I was about 8 months pregnant with our daughter. And it was in 1997. My daughter was born in March of 97. Well, our daughter. When I was pregnant, he decided.
I hope so. I contributed it.
Yeah, I know. Well, she's got your built stature. Only thing is she's about 5'1".
She's got that Dago in her. Let me tell you.
And she's got the Italian personality too, because of you. He went on a 3-day Jack Daniels bender. Well, Jack Daniels and him do not agree whatsoever. He came home. And let me tell you, he threw up in everything we owned, even a cardboard box. And I threw that on the porch, and it was there when we moved out. but it was not good, and he threw up for about as many days as he was drinking, and said he would never touch alcohol again. And 21 years later, he has not drank.
Hell no, man. That Jack Daniels whooped my ass. I'm not stupid.
And to tell you the honest truth, for the 3 days he was on the drinking bender, I have no clue where he was or what he did. All I know is all the rings on his fingers were all broke, and his knuckles were pretty swollen. So it must have been a fun bender.
Well, let me know what you gals think. If you want to ask China Doll some questions, go ahead. We're going to do a segment every show with her. Because, again, women, you guys are starting to be more and more a part of the lifestyle, and it's good to get a women's perspective. Because with me, it's usually, okay, go talk to a woman, I don't want to hear it type of deal. And I'm not trying to be a dick about it, that's just the way I was raised, you know? It's the way I was raised by my father, my uncles, all that bullshit. It was like, you know, women do their thing, we do ours. It was always... You know, women could afford to be weak where men couldn't in my day. And now it, like, switched around and shit like that. So, but go enjoy your group. You'll love it. She's building up a real good one right now. And you're real picky about who you let in.
I am, especially when you guys try to get in. Decline.
So when a guy tries to freaking come in, all you do is you look at the profile, decline, see you later. And if you're trying that fake profile crap with it, she checks all your profiles, all that bullshit. So you might want to have an actual picture up there and all that stuff. And if you just made a Facebook page, you're not getting into the group.
I do check every Facebook page, and if I don't see an actual picture of the person who's listed, I will decline.
Well, you know, she might be with me on Sunday over at the Progressive Motorcycle Show. We got some good interviews going on over there, and but I hope you guys enjoyed her segment. Like I said, she's gonna have a 5-day-a-week segment. Send in your questions, send in your comments, and we'll get Ask China Doll going. But and there you go. That was China Doll's first segment with Motorcycle Madhouse, just getting to know her and stuff like that. She was talking about that first club. It's funny. I'm talking about vets and motorcycle clubs before we went into that segment. And first motorcycle club I was in, there was 6 guys that started it off, and they were all mercs. And they fought in the Angola Wars and stuff like that. They were actually, some pretty hardcore freaking guys. Crazy, loopy-loops. But it expanded into a whole different type of deal and shit like that. Stuff that a motorcycle club really wasn't supposed to be about. But, yeah, that's China Doll and all that. And, again, I want to thank all the vets out there for everything that you guys do for us, for this country and stuff like that. And, man, whew. So, all right, let's see what we got here. We got calls. Yellow.
Hey, this is Margie Cheek.
Hey, how you doing, honey? You got to turn down the radio.
Okay, all right. Oh, hold on a second.
You there, hon?
Okay, got it. I was just wanting to comment on the property patches thing.
What's up, Margie? Go ahead.
We never did or never would wear a property patch. Mm-hmm. Because of the fact that everybody knew whose old lady we was just by the way, you know, we acted, carried ourselves and stuff like that.
Right.
And, you know, there's like, we didn't need a property patch because they knew who we was. But pretty much everything else that I heard her talking about, she was pretty much spot on that.
Rock on. Yeah, you know, with the property patches and stuff like that, it really depends what club you were in that uses them and stuff like that. But it's also important to tell everybody property patches ain't degrading to women. You know, you'll hear a lot of civilians say that, but that's not the case.
Yeah. We had clubs that hung around with us that had their old ladies wore property patches, and we was all great friends, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we just didn't, and they never have us wear them, you know.
Right. That was more, like I said, club taste. But
Yeah, club taste. Yeah.
what do you think, Marjorie, of the difference today compared to the way it used to be?
Oh man, it's nothing like it used to be. It's like they're not as, club loyal, and it's like there's a lot of patch users and
Right.
people who's in it just for and young guys that don't even know nothing about the history of anything or don't even care about it.
Right.
They just want that patch on their back and to show that they got that patch. But yeah, it's nothing like it used to be.
Man, it ain't. And you know what? You were actually with somebody that was, from what I know, in a big 1%er club and stuff. So you got a lot of knowledge on this subject when it comes to women and motorcycle clubs and stuff like that. And it is different. Even I notice how different women act today compared to the way it was.
Yes, and they're very disrespectful. A lot of them are. I'm not saying it's all of them, but they just have the history. They need to sit down and learn the history.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
They want to make them watch a movie or read a book.
Well,
sit down and teach it to them.
What I think really is the issue is the education's really not there like it used to be.
Yeah, right. And yeah, that's it. They would see, it's just so different.
Rock on. Well, I appreciate you calling in and having you on the show and getting your point of view. Like I said, you were with one of the big 1%er club guys, so you know what we're talking about. And, I really appreciate you joining on the show and stuff. Hopefully you go over to China Dolls Group and get in over there and hopefully you educate them girls.
All right. I sure do it.
Rock and roll.
Give it a try.
All
right.
Okay.
Nice talking to you, man.
You too, hon.
All right. Bye-bye.
I had somebody from Ontario that just kept on calling. Sorry, when I don't got the phone system where, it's the waiting and in line and all that kind of stuff because that's just thousands of freaking dollars right there. And, that's just something that we can't go with right now. But if who is ever calling in from Ontario, go ahead and call in. Again, I got the phone lines free, 847-957-1656. And let's get back on to, the topic right now, because I know we go back and forth during the call-ins and stuff like that. But actually, with motorcycle clubs, and I think somebody actually put it in the chat room on YouTube, motorcycle clubs were an outlet for a lot of the vets. And you know what? I see why they did, because in the 60s, you had vets coming home from Vietnam. You had citizens, calling them all kinds of crap like baby killer or you're a monster, blah, blah, blah. So they had to bind with somebody, and they bound with people, because they love motorcycle clubs. You're on air, Ontario.
No way.
Yeah, what's up?
Man, is this Insane Throttle?
Yeah, this is Motorcycle Madhouse. You're on air right now.
All right, man. Hey, listen, with all this stuff that's going on with the patches and stuff in the States there, with this RICO stuff.
Right.
I can't find anything in the media or anything on hard copy about how RICO would affect like the RC riding club patches.
Well, RICO was intended in the late 1970s as to use against the mafia. We call it the outfit here in Chicago. That was the original purposes of RICO until the government decided to go ahead and expand. And they went into motorcycle clubs. I believe 81 was the first ones they tried it against, and they lost that. But RICO is...
What's that?
81's Hell's Angels. But as far as RICO goes,
we're talking motorcycle clubs?
Well, yeah, you're talking motorcycle clubs, but if you're talking RC, RICO, if they get a hair up their ass, they can use RICO for whatever they want down here in the States. And that's why this patch case with the Mongols is so important, because they're using RICO in that case, and they did not charge anybody. They just RICO'd them. That way they can try to have them forfeit their patch. That is the kind of nonsense going on down here in the States. And you being in Canada, you guys got it even worse, man. You guys are like Oz up there.
Oh, yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. But, I was just reading today on a website. Why I'm calling it is because of the widow's son. Now, on their webpage, it says that the widow's son's patch, PATCH, it's copyright protected. Okay?
Right.
So if, say, I don't know, whatever happens in life, right? Say the widow's son's motorcycle club, which is Freemason, says, hey, we're going to become a motorcycle club now.
Mm-hmm.
With all these new laws concerning, patches and corporations, would that also affect a fraternity society, like a Freemason society, if their Masonic Bikers Association became a motorcycle club, a riding club?
It don't even have to go that far. Now, the scary thing about this patch case going on in California is they're going after the trademark copyright of the Mongols. Now, this don't only... Now, I'm talking states. I don't know how your laws up there in Canada work. They won't even let me over the damn border. But anyway... Well, the way this works is they're trying to take their, again, their copyright, their logo. Now, it's not only freaking the
motor. Why are they doing that? Why are they doing that?
Because they're claiming that it's a motorcycle club that earn proceeds from criminal activity and stuff like that, and thus they have to forfeit all their property. That's how our government works down here. They're screwed up. And this patch case, if won, which it's not gonna, I can't see it being won, because we got a lot of different shit. You got big bangers coming out now to support the Mongols and stuff, like ACLU. And yeah, a lot of people talk shit about them, but they're coming out to help. But this is gonna go all the way to the Supreme Court, because if they can take the Mongols patch away, and now you're talking about being a member of the Masons. Now, say somebody in the Masons riding club committed a crime. If they get the hair up their ass, then the FBI or DEA, ATF, or the Department of Justice can now go and say, hey, that's a criminal organization. We want their patch, even though they're an RC. So the big worry is, hey, are we going to give the government that right to go and label somebody, an organization criminal whenever they want?
So, what are they? Are they using all their government and federal agencies to go after dominant motorcycle clubs throughout the United States of America?
Well, put it this way: if they, they've been going after the Mongols for the last, 10 years since that Rack Veos was thrown out of the club. And actually, it was only the charges when he was involved that they were found guilty on. Everything else was thrown out. But they're trying to go after them. Now, what happens when they go after the Mongols? Say they win this case, okay? Let's just say they win it. Guess who's next on the radar? It's that's what a lot of these.
Where does the list begin and where does the list end?
Well, put it this way:
who's the next club that they're after?
Well, you got the Hell's Angels, you got Outlaws, you got Pagans, you got Warlocks, you got Sons of, you got them all out there that they're going to go after, and I guarantee you now, I guarantee you with this Mongols thing, and this is to all the supporters out there that you might not like the Mongols. If they lose, they're going after your club next, and I guarantee the next one's going to be 81 because they are huge on their trademark and copyright. And
isn't that what's going on with Vikings and in Oztown.
Well, with
In
bikies,
Australia?
you're talking Australia. You got the anti-consortium laws and stuff like that. Again, I cannot speak to Oz. I call it Oz, but Australia, because I don't know their system out there. They don't got a Bill of Rights, which I feel sorry for them. Here in America, we got Bill of Rights. And one of them rights is our First Amendment, where we got a right to free association. And
Yeah, but
the government now,
the
government now is trying to tell us, hey, you don't got a right to associate freely with who you want, because we're saying it's a criminal organization. You know, what's it going to be next? You know, look at all these, you know, and I'm not trying to be a dick to, you know, Catholics. I used to be one, but you got all these molesting cases out there that they hid and hid and hid.
Well, see, that's the thing. When's the last time you've seen cops, FBI, CIA, NSA, Trump, and his priests? Why aren't they hanging around the churches?
Mm-hmm.
With the highest rise of pedophilia within the Roman Catholic Church today, where's the law?
Well, you know, you got to look at it
With
this
the
way.
Inquisition, with all the murders, the rapes, the genocide by the Vatican Church, where's the law?
Well, you know what? They're powerful, man. They got people in high freaking places. You know, I don't. Have you ever heard of Opus Dei?
And you know what? Me saying this out like this, you know, I ain't stupid, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it's just easy. Someone just press that little button on my little thing there. And, you know, the thing is, though, is that
Go ahead.
they're not after, let's say, they're not worried about laws.
Well, no. What it
They're just
is
trying to take away competition.
no. What it is the government don't go after organizations they do not feel threatened by. Motorcycle clubs they are the most. They're frightened of motorcycle.
Why is the Roman Catholic Church, through the federal system and the law, attacking dominant motorcycle clubs throughout all the states within the United States of America?
Well, I haven't heard of the Catholic Church attacking them. You know, I just use that as examples. But
No, like I'm not trying to be conspiratorial, obviously. But I'm saying most politicians within the House of Representatives in the White House, are they generally not Roman Catholic?
well, yeah.
And that's who's creating these new laws.
Well, you got
biker clubs.
well, you know, you got Catholics, you got Protestants, you got Jews, you got Muslims, all that stuff creating laws. You know, America is a diverse country, and you know that's great that we're so diverse. But the problem
Unless you're a biker.
well, you know. I guess you could say that. You know, the cops don't like us, and that's why I preach all the time that bikers in America has such a large voting base. We need to get out there and say, hey, we're not a bunch of fucking dumbasses that don't know what's going on. You know, we can talk politics. That's why I talk politics on this show.
Sure.
Yeah, a lot of people get pissed. Hey, I thought this was a biker show, not politics. Hey, we're bikers, and yes, we should be involved in politics because our rights are getting slammed. Now, if you look at that article that I put out today on Insane Throttle Biker News, it talks about how the cops and the media have a freaking stranglehold on the way people think about motorcycle clubs. We got to start fighting. We got to fight them on their own turf. Yes, in 70, 80...
I'm not a you know, everything's got to be done. You got to look out for yourself, man. Everything's got to be done within the law.
Well,
in order to have rights, you got to do certain things in a certain way. People can voice themselves, you know, do like the whole A-bait, you know, get bikers together, you know, prospects for patches, and just, you know, support each other when you're looking at the whole general thing of survival.
Well, you know what? You just brought up A-bait. Now, let me address A-bait because we're a huge supporter of A-bait. A-bait. What you see now in the United States with these helmet laws and the different type of motorcycle laws with exhaust and stuff like that, but most important, A-bait is the one who fought for our rights to go ahead and say, hey, you either want to wear a helmet or you don't. If you want to crack your skull, go for it. If you don't, wear a helmet. but that type of organization shows just how powerful that we can be as a community within the bikers. Now you got MPP, Motorcycle Profiling Project. That is starting to pick up, doing a lot of stuff for motorcycle profiling here in the United States. Go over there, support them. You got to support the organizations that are supporting you, because if you don't, then you got, don't bitch. That's where it comes down to.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what kind of organizations you have in Canada. You know, I've known people up in Canada and stuff like that.
Confederation of Clubs.
That's an
Confederation of Clubs.
That's an awesome organization.
And there's also a thing about signing petitions against unlawful pullovers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where police are targeting. And I use the word targeting.
That's motorcycle profiling.
Members of motorcycle clubs.
Yeah,
and they're pulling them over for just simply being a member of a motorcycle club.
Well, that's going on right now in the United States, and the epicenter of that, we talk about it almost on a daily basis, is Texas, and that's starting to happen here, where law enforcement gets a bug up their ass, and a lot of the New Jacks don't understand. In the 90s, it was freaking hard with the freaking profiling. It didn't matter, because being a biker back then wasn't cool. They'll throw your ass, put your face in the ground, didn't care, okay? And now the New Jacks are starting to see that. And they're like, holy shit, this is happening all over. Yeah, you got a lot of naysayers out there saying, no, it's not happening. You don't break the law, you're not going to get bugged. Hey, screw you. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. Or you don't ride a damn bike long enough to get pulled over. Or you're sucking on some Leo's pole because you think it's going to curry favor with them. And that's one of the biggest problems I personally think that's going on in the scene right now is cops used to be on one side, we are on the other. There was a line in the middle, don't cross the damn line. But now with social media and all that stuff, you got people that say, hey, we don't care what people do for a living. They're just out there earning a living. Do you not realize that Leo, they have one code, and that is blue? Even if they're your damn brother, they will turn on your ass. And I'm talking blood brother. These cops will turn on your ass for any one of them other guys in badges.
Yep.
You get me going on that Leo stuff, man. I'll just go on and on and on, man.
Well, I don't get me wrong. I support the difference in society where you're either a civilian, as in, you're not a public servant. Look at, okay, not just bikers in general, but look, law enforcement has always picked on middle class. Ever since the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, 80s, 90s, they've always picked on the middle class. Most veterans in the Vietnam War, middle class. Most people that served in the World War I, World War II, Vietnam, were from the middle class and impoverished, not the elite.
Well, that's
when vets came back.
Well, wait a second.
You beat up by the cops.
You bring up a good point, and there's the huge point right there. Is you got the elite and you got everybody else, and who does cops work for? They work for the damn elite. Come on, right now in the United States, and I'll let you go on with your point after this. Right now in 2016, you have proven proof that Hillary Clinton was screwing around with the damn Russians. That Clinton Foundation is freaking, you know what? I'm from Chicago. I know corruption when I see it. They have all kinds of proof that she was getting paid as Secretary of State. And does the FBI do anything about it? No. Do they go after her or her husband? No. Why? Because they are the elite. They got all the strings. Now, when Trump ran for office, he told all those elites, go screw yourself. I don't need your money. He's got the American people's back, and that's why they're coming at him like they are.
Yeah, well, I know. They weren't backing him. They were backing Let's Make America Great Again. That's what they were backing, because they were patriots.
And right now in America, with
the only politician that was talking about Let's Make America Great Again was,
Well, was Trump, and you know what? With that is Trump has actually showed the proof. He's actually out there doing it. And, just today, he says, okay, you guys don't want to, work on immigration. Let's put it straight with our immigration stuff, okay? The Democrats want the votes. The Republicans want the cheap labor. You even got the Chamber of Commerce come out condemning the National Emergency Declaration. No, what Trump wants to do is have a nation of damn laws. Now in Canada, let me ask you this, since you're in Canada. Can I just walk up into Canada and become something? Or do I have to have merit behind me? Do I have to have skills?
You cut out there. You have to. Can you repeat that sentence again for me?
Now, okay, put it this way. In America, they just want them to be able to walk over the border, pay a fee, get a visa and stuff like that. And I know damn well in Canada that you have to be merit-based to get into Canada. You have to go through all different points and stuff like that.
I completely support immigrants because you know what? You know how many bikers are from different countries that are living in America, that are part of the biker world in America?
Well, see,
I support immigration, but when it comes down to...
Well, wait a second there. You say you support immigration. Now, Don't be fooled, okay? You got them saying, we support immigration, but they don't tell you it's illegal to walk over the border. Now, a guy like me, my family came here from Naples, Italy. I think my great-grandmother was first off the boat. She had to come through Ellis Island. She did it legally. She didn't sneak in or any of that shit. She had to come in legally. So what gives anybody else a right to come over our borders? And the Democrat, okay, we're going to call it we support immigration. That is not immigration.
Let me put it this way. I wouldn't want to live one day in their lives. The ones who are trying to sneak in, I wouldn't want to live one day in their lives. We got it pretty good up in the north. When people get desperate, they get desperate. And they're willing to take chances other people aren't.
Well, here's the thing.
What happens when they get into this country is a different story. But when they're fleeing, political conflict and war areas, and they're trying to find a better lives for themselves, their safety, and their families, absolutely support it. But what do they do once they get into the country is how affects their communities, the communities around them, and whole states.
Well, here's where, hold on a sec, because I've been going 20 minutes with you, and I appreciate the call in from Ontario. It's good to talk about immigration on a different subject, but I'll let it go at, I see what your point is, that's the progressive side, but America has borders. We're our own country, and, each immigrant, well, put it this way, you guys make it up in Canada a merit-based system. You expect them to have money, pay their own way. Why is it so different in the United States when we're asking the same thing that your country, Mexico, and all the other countries out there are asking for? It's different for America because, you know what, we've been given. Yeah, do I feel sorry for people that are coming from war-torn countries? Yes. What do I say? Fight back. It's not our problem because, you know what, we've been fighting these wars for decades and it hasn't got nothing but disrespect around the world for Americans and nothing but headaches. But I really appreciate you calling in, buddy. Call in again. Hey, we have a good debate, man. But I'll talk to you later. All right, that was a good bait, man. I really love that debate. Anyone can buy a patch, but you need to earn your real patch. You got that right, Sinister. Hey, Sinister, I'll be out there Sunday at 1 o'clock. I got to actually do an interview at the Progressive Show, and I'm hitting Gene and Jude's right down the street. But with that, guys, I am going to let you go. I've been over here mumbling. I'm like 17 minutes over here. But with that, talk to you later. You guys have a good weekend. I'll see you Monday. Don't forget to listen in on Bikers Inner Circle at 11 o'clock Central Standard Time, noon Eastern, and West Coast time is 9 a.m. He is on Facebook. Listen to Good Time Charlie's show, and also go to that link and freaking nominate him. And also China Dow's freaking, what's it called, down there, her group. But I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching Motorcycle Madhouse Live. We're on Monday through Friday from 7 to 7:30. Check out some of these videos of our archives. Get to know us. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We appreciate all your support. We'll see you next time.